Welcome to the 2-minute warning post-game show from the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Mikey McNuggets, Earl the Pearl, G. Bush coming at you. And guys, we finally have a 2-minute warning, and you're hearing an echo. That'll be going in 1 second. That's the Bleacher Report crossover. But we are here, guys. 2-minute warning. Browns down 1. Let's get it. Okay, you guys talk because I'm hearing double crossovers. That's why. It's on YouTube. There we go. All right, we're good. We're all set. G. Bush, Jameis Winston, 2-minute warning. Is he going to get the job done here for the Cleveland Browns?
Yep. You just saw the pass to Tillman. I think Jameis is ready to go. He said it was divine intervention. He said he was ready to go. He was praising the Lord this morning on a good Sunday. And Jameis is out here looking like he want to lead this drive. I'm trying to drink the Kool-Aid any way I can. Even if it got to be mixed with Robitussin, I'm drinking some sort of Kool-Aid today, and I think Jameis is going to get it done.
Oh, how you feeling? Jameis going to get it done?
Yeah, Jameis going to get it done. The Browns is playing inspired football today for a whole lot of reasons, man. This is the breath of fresh air that the Cleveland Browns fans needed, that the players needed. So hell yeah, he gets it done. Let's watch. Let's check this out.
This is the first time we've had a true 2-minute warning show. These are some of the best 2-minute warning programs we have when we get to give you guys some live reaction for the most crucial minutes and plays of the game. The Browns at the moment have the ball around their own 45-yard line. They only need a field goal. Dustin Hopkins just made a long field goal, but that ricocheted in off the post. So I'm curious how his confidence is. We saw Justin Tucker miss a 50-yarder earlier. What field goal range do you feel comfortable with Hopkins kicking it here, Earl? Do they have to get inside the 30? Do you trust them with the long 50-plus yarder for the dub? Where's your comfort range now for Dustin Hopkins?
I still trust Dustin 50 yards out, 55 yards out. I know he done missed a couple 50-plus yard field goals this year, but since he's been in a Browns uniform, more often than not, he's been money. So I think if it comes down to it, everything seems to be playing out in the Cleveland Browns way this particular game. I think if it comes down to that, man, I trust him to run out there and kick a game-winning field goal.
G. Bush, where's your range?
I'd be comfortable anywhere over 40 some yards. Ooh, can we get that flag?
It's 2nd and 10 now, minute 57. The Browns driving. That was an incomplete pass. Winston, looking for Elijah Moore on the right sideline. Gee, how aggressive are you in these next couple of play calls as we figure out what the Browns are going to do? Are you going for the kill, or are you trying to just get into field goal range?
We need to be conservative. We don't need to be conservative. We still need to push this ball downfield to get in field goal range. And as you can see, great job by Jerry Jeudy coming back to the football. This is what we like to see, man. This is the 2-minute offense. Jameis Winston is a veteran. He's used to passing this football. The only thing we don't want right here is any turnovers. We don't want to go for shot plays. We want to consistently move these chains and don't take sacks and giving him their yardage back.
Yeah, we're going to get into Jameis's entire start later. Drops back, hits Njoku for 5 yards, 6 yards. They're 3 yards shy of the projected field goal line on the CBS broadcast for Dustin Hopkins' range. But we'll talk about the injuries to the Browns defense. We'll talk about Jameis. We'll talk about the Jim Donovan effect and everything encompassing in there, the change of play callers when the game concludes. But there's a minute 21, guys, and the Browns defense has done a terrific job limiting Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offense. And the Browns offense has done just enough at crucial times to put them in a position right now, 2nd and 3.
Clock management right here, McNuggets. Right now, the Baltimore Ravens had to use a timeout. If you can get this first down, you pretty much secure the fact that Baltimore's going to have to stop the clock in order to get the ball back. They want some time to come and do their thing and get it and go back downfield.
Jameis an empty set on 2nd and 3. Pierre Strong flanked out to his right. Baltimore brings the blitz. They try to throw a screen to Elijah Moore. It gets broken up. That seemed a little risky there, G. That seemed a little risky.
Right there. I'm running the football. It's 2nd and 3. You run the ball. You may get 2 or 3 yards to have to call another timeout. Now, you put yourself in a 3rd and 7 right now where you want to get a couple more yards to make this manageable. We're going to see what they dial up. But hopefully this is something where you can get some yards and make them have to make a decision.
I got a good feeling. Something good's going to happen here, G. I got a good feeling. Jameis has been waiting 2+ years to make a start in the NFL since the last time he started. And there it is. First down to Elijah Moore, who stayed in bounds too. Huge play. The Browns are going to have the opportunity here, G, to run the clock down to essentially the final seconds and kick a field goal. This game's going to come down to the foot of Dustin Hopkins. Winston.
You see how you get to the third step?
Under pressure.
Under pressure, get to the third step, throw the deep out. He knew Jared. Listen, that is called understanding that we are on the same page. We know what we need to get. It wasn't no confusion. He threw it quickly. Definitely Jameis Winston. I'm liking what I'm seeing right now.
It's the Sean King, on time, in rhythm, and accurate. We've seen that from a number of different plays today from Jameis Winston. On time, in rhythm, making things happen. And right now, the Ravens called their second timeout to stop the clock. So there's 1:08 on the clock. 1st and 10, the Browns have it on the 34-yard line. That means it'd be a 51-yard field goal if they don't get any more yards. But you got to assume it's a heavy dose of Nick Chubb for these next 3 plays here, G. Oh, flag.
No. Who is this?
I didn't see it. It didn't look like a false start.
Who is this?
Nope. Was a false start on 77. That's Teller, right? That's his third penalty of the day. I know he's first game back after coming off the IR, but
come on, Wyatt. You got it locked in.
You can't be doing that.
Lock in,
So now it's 1st and 15 from the 39. That's a 57-yard, 58-yard, 57, give or take, yard field goal, depending on where it's spotted. You passing it here, Earl and G, or you running the ball with Nick Chubb?
We got to be aggressive. We got to get them yards back.
Yeah, you got to get them yards back. You're already behind the sticks with this one.
And that's oh my God.
He dropped it.
Oh my, the Browns live to see another day. He threw a gift-wrapped interception to Kyle Hamilton, one of the best defensive players in the league, and Kyle Hamilton bobbled that. There must be Vaseline on the football, G. It was an overthrow to Elijah Moore.
Kyle Hamilton.
That is incredible.
He undercut that route.
That is incredible.
And that's about 4 or 5. That's about 4 or 5 interceptions that either the Ravens or the Browns could have had at this point. So right here is 2nd down. We need somebody to step up. We need somebody to figure this thing out. And these are where the games come down to, right?
He almost threw an interception. He's about to throw a touchdown here. The football gods he's going deep. And Tillman. Touchdown!
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 Yes! That's what I'm talking about, baby. Let's go. Listen,
Cedric Tillman gets beyond the defense.
He has the shortest memory of all the time. He has dementia version of football. He didn't remember what happened 2 plays ago, up, top, down, south to Tillman, and he got the 2 fingers up. Famous Jameis Winston. Let's go, baby.
The football gods take it. I mean, first off, from a Baltimore standpoint, how do you let the receiver get behind you? That's horrendous coverage from Baltimore. The Browns are going from 2. Jameis put that one in a bucket over Tillman's shoulder, his 2nd touchdown grab of the afternoon. And Jameis, G, to your point, shortest memory in the world. You got to get a 2-point conversion here. That make it a 7-point game. They're in an empty set, 3 receivers to Jameis's left, 2 to his right. Strong goes in motion. Winston scrambles. Incomplete. So it's 29-24. A minute on the clock, 59 seconds to be exact. Baltimore has 1 timeout, and it's going to come down to the defense now to make 1 more stop. But great protection. And Jameis with an absolute beauty to Cedric Tillman on a deep cross route.
There you go.
A little bit of a double move.
There you go, your boy.
What a play. Talk about the pendulum. Earl, we go from the Ravens dropping the game-winning interception in his hands, and that's a all-pro caliber player, to the next play, Cedric Tillman, a 38-yard touchdown.
Throw your 19s up, baby. Throw them 19s up, baby.
Hey, are you wearing a Tillman jersey, or is that Bernie?
No, I got a Bernie throwback on.
I'm about to say, dog, I don't know what kind of crystal ball you got to go get a Tillman jersey today and just it hit you. That's wild. Hey, listen, let me tell you this, man. Complimentary football. The Browns offense did what they needed to do. Now, guess what we need? Myles Garrett.
Yes.
Come on, big dog. Let's end this one. Let's get off the field. Let's go ahead and finish this thing off. You did what you were supposed to do. Now it's time for the defense who's been playing, I think, pretty good all game, given the fact that what they're looking at right now.
We haven't mentioned this yet, Earl, but I know you did a pregame show this morning. We've talked a lot about Jim Donovan's passing over the weekend. We'll touch on it again, but I got to imagine Kyle Hamilton on that play. He was hearing Jim Donovan's voice in his head. And I'm not saying divine intervention happened, but I'm giving that interception.
No, it did happen.
Like he was over the
breakup was due to Jim Donovan.
Over the top two McNuggets.
Remember last year versus Chicago when Jim Brown came down from the heavens and knocked the ball up out the wide receiver's hand?
Yep, I remember.
That's all. Jim Donovan just came down like, no, you don't.
That was against I think it was against the Bears.
It was against the Bears.
Yeah. Yep.
Divine intervention, man. 2 years in a row.
59 seconds. Lamar with the ball. No JOK. No Denzel Ward. Let's see if the Browns defense can get a stop here. You have Newsome on Bateman one-on-one to the short side of your screen. And Lamar is going to find it's Nelson Aguilar for 12 yards across the middle. And they're going to spike it here. They need a touchdown. So they're going to have to drive the length of the field. They still have to go 59 yards in 44 seconds on the clock.
Here's the thing that you so worry about. If you go man-to-man coverage, the backs of the receivers and the defensive backs are going to be, the Lamar Jackson, they're going to be turned around, and Lamar Jackson is going to have an opportunity to scramble. It's imperative that you have great rush lane integrity. You only can get deepest to deepest without coming back underneath. No loss and contain, and make them earn it. Make them earn it.
Earl, you blitzing here? Or you playing conservative?
I'm blitzing. So I had Aaron Shea on the barbershop yesterday. Sorry. And he talked about when you in these situations, he says, man, teams and defense really don't like to play conservative ball. They kind of like to keep their foot on the gas.
Well, that's Zay Flowers to the Browns 40-yard line, but he stayed in bounds. The Ravens used their final timeout to stop the clock. There's 35 seconds on the clock. I think they're going to put another second or two back on if they're granting the Ravens a timeout. But Zay Flowers beat Grant Delpit to the sideline, and that was a pickup of 18. So now with 37 seconds, the Ravens have it at the 41-yard line, a couple attempts to the end zone, or they can try and pick up some yards. Earl said he's blitzing, not playing conservative. Are you copying that same mantra?
I'm rushing forward. I don't want to let Lamar Jackson get loose. When you blitz him, he has an opportunity to have one-on-one coverage. Somebody could fall down and slip. I think you pay Myles Garrett and those guys up front to get home, and hopefully Myles Garrett can do something here and make them score a touchdown.
And Lamar's going to dump it off to Justice Hill, who picks up about 15 yards but gets tackled in the middle of the field. They're going to have to dump the ball and spike it again to stop the clock. And with 21 seconds, the Ravens are at the 24-yard line. You go for the end zone, or you try to get one closer if you're from an offensive standpoint? Are they going to take 3 shots at the end zone here, G?
No, listen, I think it's rough. Here's what I'm looking at from the situation of Lamar Jackson. If he scrambles and does not get out of bounds, that essentially makes the game's done, right?
Yeah,
so I think you take that out the table.
All right, 21 seconds here, Lamar. Timeout Browns. Browns have called a timeout, so they'll put the second back on the clock. 2nd and 10, 21 seconds. What's Jim Schwartz telling his guys here, Earl? What is the message Jim Schwartz is sending his defense in this crucial moment of the game?
To me, the message would be, man, no contact fouls, right? No flags on anything like that. Because at this point, if you get a spot foul, a pass interference type spot foul, like in the end zone, then they're on the 1-yard line. So you just want to make sure you play clean right now and you don't get no flags thrown on you. Whether you playing conservative or not, man, you can't get no flags in the end zone right now.
I'm telling my defensive line, best pass rush move. If you get a sack here, game's over. Best pass rush move in the world. Let's get after him. No face mask, none of that stuff. And I echo what Earl's saying. No pass interference in the end zone. Let's make a play and get out of here, boys.
21 seconds. Lamar has 3 receivers to his right, 1 receiver to his left. I see Likely and Mark Andrews in the game. Lamar scrambles, got good pressure, and he's going to lob it up to the end zone out of bounds. 14 seconds, 3rd and 10 from the 24-yard line. You essentially have 2 shots at the end zone here. The Browns have to stop 2 attempts from the 24-yard line from the Ravens potentially scoring.
Listen,
I know he ain't got home, man, but Mike Hall been putting pressure on Lamar.
He's been
a lot this game, man.
Hey, these are the longest 14 seconds I'd have ever seen, though. It seemed like Lamar Jackson was running around back there for 45 minutes. I'm like, dang, it's still 14 seconds left.
They got quick pressure, which and the Browns are going to call their second timeout now. They've played conservative the whole time. They haven't rushed any more than 4. Do you change it up just to give them one different look, or do you keep with what's working?
You got to stick with what's working right now. You can't be cute right now.
You can't be greedy out here, bro. I'm not giving you. You're going to have to beat coverage, and you're going to have to do it like under duress. Like, hey, you got Myles Garrett. You got Zadarius Smith. You got Mike Holub is giving you pressure, right? So I'm asking my guys, hey, listen, let's work with zone. And if you do play man-to-man coverage, you do have an opportunity to hold and grab and do some other things. So I think they should keep it right here. But once again, have to keep contained on Lamar Jackson.
Just so you guys know, I can see the stadium. I have my blinds closed, so I can't see. So I'm watching this live with you. I have no inside information on what's going to happen. 2nd and 14 or 3rd and 14. Lamar pressured, scrambles, rolling, chucks it to the end zone. MJ Emerson with the breakup. We're going to have one last play for the game here, ladies and gentlemen. 3 seconds left from the 24-yard line, 4th and 10. The Ravens need a touchdown. And
hey, this game is
down to one more stop.
This game is not over. Y'all get back on the line and scrim. Hey, listen. Let's go. This is Lamar Jackson we talking about right here. Come on now. Finish your breakfast. Finish your food.
Great play from your guy MJ there, though, Earl. We talked a lot about his shortcomings so far this season. That's a hell of a play in the end zone.
He had to go talk to Todd Jerome, get his stuff together. He good.
Let's go.
4th down, 3 seconds to go. Play clock winding down. The Browns will use their final timeout. The Ravens came out in an empty set, 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. And now we'll see if they adjust with the Browns' adjustments.
Right here, you're telling guys, like Earl said, no pass interference. Don't get grabby. None of that stuff. Let's finish this thing off, man. Myles Garrett get a pass rush. Zadarius Smith get the pass rush. Everybody make sure they're doing their assignments. And this is a big – listen, let me tell you what. You want to talk about it? This is a huge win if you can get it. Play one more down.
Well, you got to get one more down, or we'll talk about the level of –
It's been a long week, man. I can't wait to get into it. It's been a long week. I can't wait to talk about this game.
And here it comes. I got a good feeling about this. It feels like the Browns, the football gods owe the Browns here. Lamar, empty set, 3 receivers to his right, drops back, has some pressure, scrambles, more good pressure from the Browns. Lamar steps up, is going to fire to the opposite corner of the end zone.
Ball game.
And it's incomplete. The Browns have beaten the Baltimore Ravens 11.5 point, 10.5 point, 9.5 point underdogs. The Browns say we don't give a you-know-what. They have beaten the Baltimore Ravens at home. They improved to 2-6 on the season. Jameis Winston gets his first win as a starter for the Browns. They eclipsed 20 points. They eclipsed 200 passing yards. And the Browns are back in the win column for the first time since week 2.
I want to make sure I got this right. It took my man Jameis one start, 300 yards passing, right? Listen, it's been a hell of a week, Mike and G, from Sunday to Sunday. Man, I tweeted this out earlier today that the Cleveland Browns fans needed something that was going to unite us, right? And we didn't give a damn if this was going to be ugly. This was not going to be the week that we argued about mistakes. We came into this day emotional. We came into this day mourning, right? And all we wanted was a win for Jim Donovan and his family. And so the football guys rained down on the Cleveland Browns today, and we was able to get that. You know, last Sunday we had players at the podium speaking out strongly against the fans. We seen Kevin Stefanski give up the play calling this week. We see Jameis Winston get to start at quarterback this week. Just so much that took place within this Cleveland Browns organization from Sunday to Sunday. And to go out here today when you 9.5 point underdogs at home, not really sure what the temperature is going to be from the Cleveland Browns fans. Not really sure what to expect with the Ravens coming in here on a 5-game winning streak. Lamar Jackson just played the best game of his career last week, and you pull off the biggest upset of the season so far. You see the instant results of the quarterback change, right? 300 yards passing in his first start with the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson ain't did that. I think my hair had probably just started growing the last time Deshaun Watson threw for 300 yards. You see the instant results of, just everything involved of how Kevin Stefanski had more control of the team, right? The defense played lights out. Special teams played lights out. The Cleveland Browns offense played competent football all game long. And you just see like what a breath of fresh air can look like. And Jameis Winston, I know it's just one game, but Sean King was on our on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show earlier this week, and he said, don't put a cap on what Jameis Winston can be. Jameis is only 30 years old. And if he proved himself serviceable, if he proved himself to be a leader, if he proved himself to be more than capable of leading the Cleveland Browns to victory clearly like he did today and running this offense like he did today with Ken Dorsey as the play caller, then you have to consider Jameis Winston for 2025 and moving forward. You just have to.
G, floor is yours.
Man, yesterday was a rough night for me. Just being in the industry and losing a lot of people. The mentors you grew up with, the BSKs, the the Michael Stanleys, the Les Levines of the world, and then you lose Jimmy Donovan, and it's like I felt so bad for him because at the time when he passed, this team was 1-6, and there was this big thing with the fans and the players is arguing back and forth, and whose fault is it? And man, it was just so ugly and nasty. And for a guy to lose his bout with cancer, and just have to listen and to go out that way, that devoted his life to the Browns, and devoted his life to this fan base and to the Cleveland Browns in general. And it breaks my heart that every single time that we lose these individuals, we don't get a chance to see them have that joy to hoist the trophy and to be a playoff team. And guys are leaving here with, the Steelers and the Ravens always winning, and to devote that much time of your life for that and to not see it through, it was just difficult for me, not to mention he was inspirational. He was one of the first people to ever reach out and say, hey, man, I think you got potential. You're doing a great job. And for them to come out here today and get that win, I know he was looking. I know he helped knock that ball down. I mean, I know what type of energy it was, man. And man, I'm just so happy for today, for his family to be able to see that. I'm just so happy that maybe this can be a rallying call for everybody in the Browns fandom. For everybody. We've been fighting. We feel like we done had a civil war for 5-7 years. And maybe we can get to a point where it's saying it ain't about I told you so's. It's about everybody getting together and seeing how great a win can feel. And never forget that, yes, this is a game. And there's more to things than life than this football game. But today, the Cleveland Browns are going to celebrate Jim Donovan. We celebrate his memory. We celebrate what he meant to the franchise. And I know Jimmy is looking, saying, boy, I tell you, who would have thought that we come in with all this stuff going on and we get a win 1-6 against the doggone Baltimore Ravens. So I want to thank Jimmy for looking down, and I pray that Browns fans can continue to move forward in unison and have more days like this.
Yeah, the one thing missing from a win like this is the Jimmy Donovan call and being able to go back afterwards. And I know we're always on the post-game show, so we don't get to hear it live, but one of my favorite things to do after we used to get off these last year when the Browns were winning games was go check out what Jimmy had to say in the aftermath of a big Browns win, just like we do with Hamilton and the Guardians. Jimmy and the Browns was the same way. So obviously our thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. He was a tremendous, tremendous broadcaster. Jay Crawford said he's the best local broadcaster he'd ever come across. And I tend to believe him. So it's a heavy heart that we wish the Browns, the Donovan family, and anyone associated all of our thoughts and prayer and continued support as they go through these tough times. As for the game today, as I'm watching, guys, and we can get into specifics in a second, but oh my goodness,
what a game.
I don't know who to blame, but there is no way in any world I'm buying the fact that the Browns had these quarterbacks in camp and in practice on a week-to-week basis and decided that Deshaun was giving them the best chance to win in weeks 1 through 7. And I don't want to turn this into an anti-Deshaun thing. I want to focus this on how well Jameis played. But there were It was a night and day offense, guys. Like completely night and day. And I don't know if it's a Stefanski call, if it's an AB call, if it's an ownership call, if it's a Dorsey call. But the season was sabotaged by whoever's decision that was to continue trotting Deshaun out there, because it's evident he was not the best quarterback on this roster this year. He was the highest paid quarterback, but he is not the best quarterback on this roster. And had Jameis started the season 8 games in, I don't know, the Browns could be 4-4, maybe 5-3. They lost a bunch of one-score games with the worst quarterback playing football. You give me half-competent player, you give me what we got today from Jameis. This is a winning football team in playoff contention, not contending for the number 1 overall pick. That was my big takeaway. Earl, you touched on Jameis G. You gave us the emotional side. What did you think of Jameis in his first start for the Browns?
Now that we got the tear jerkers out of the way, let's get to the brass tacks in which you came to watch G. Bush for. Let me talk about this man, Jameis Winston, dog.
Welcome back, brother.
Let me get back and ready to go. Let me tell you this. Sean King called me when I was sick last week, and he said, G. Bush, I'm telling you. I thought it was a bill collector. I said, who is this from Tampa? He said, yo, this is, hey, go ahead, pick the phone up.
He asked me for your number, and right. I said, make sure you text him first, because he don't even answer my text or my call, so I know he ain't going to answer you.
I was under the covers. He said, yo, get up. I think Jameis Winston got something. Do not put a ceiling on him. And I want to tell all Cleveland fans this. Learn from what we did with Joe Flacco. Tomorrow, it's going to be a group of individuals that are going to say, well, he need to pump the brakes on this. It's just one game. Get the hell off of my lawn. We is 1-6. Don't you play no games with me. You're going to sit here and pour cold water on the Kool-Aid Mafia. Do you understand what famous Jameis is bringing to the table? He was preaching this morning. He said, hallelujah. The Lord woke him up, and the Lord gave us that ending drive. I'm going to tell you what. You see Kevin Stefanski? He saved his whole situation. And let me tell you something, Kevin. Let me tell you, Kev. You might got what it takes. You know why? It take a lot of heart. It take a man to say, you know what? Let me hand this over. Let me let that man do his job. And guess what? It paid off for you. It pays off when you can delegate. It pays off when you put faith in other people to do a job. And right now, Jameis Winston did something that I don't think a lot of people think about. This man led a fourth quarter drive when it could have went all to hell. He led a fourth quarter drive out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, McNuggets, on Monday, we're going to talk about the offensive line don't look old. DeJuan Jones look like Cedric Tillman. Elijah Moore ran one of the best routes I've seen him run ever, and the defense banded together and got to stop when they need it. That's what I call inspiration, and that's what I call drinking the Kool-Aid. The Mafia, we back.
Bro, he had 334, 115.3 quarterback rating, threw 3 touchdowns and no interception. Cedric Tillman, 99 yards a game after going for 81 yards.
My guy.
How about this?
My guy.
Your guy, Mike. How about this? Elijah Moore, 12 targets. A team high 12 targets for Elijah Moore. 85 receiving yards and 8 receptions. Hey, want some more? Jerry Jeudy, 79 yards receiving, 5 receptions off of 8 targets. And then David Njoku with 61 and a touchdown. And Poe Eddie Jackson, man, he couldn't do a damn thing with David Njoku the entire game. But this was fun, right? We've been waiting to have some damn fun watching the Cleveland Browns all season long, and we finally got it. No more 4 yards per play. No more wondering if the Cleveland Browns can score 20 points. No more wondering if we can get at least 200 yards passing from our quarterback. Like, this feels good, man. Like, last year we was wacko with Flacco. Like, we're about to ride with 5, man, all the way for the rest of the season. Somebody go past the collection plate, man, because he preached a good sermon, and like he deserved his coins. He deserved his coins.
I'm going to get to the good things of Jameis in 1 sec. Let me just point out one very clear thing so people don't get mad at us. Jameis could have thrown 15 interceptions today. Like, the Ravens dropped a bunch of interceptions. That doesn't matter because it didn't happen. They didn't catch them. That's on them. Just so people don't say we're ignoring the fact, we've acknowledged. G, give me a thumbs up that you acknowledge the fact that he could have thrown interceptions. Give me a thumbs up. Earl, give me a thumbs up that you acknowledge the fact that it could have been.
It don't matter. I tweeted out today. It could have been ugly. It could have.
That's what I'm saying.
Who cares? We did it for Jimmy. All I'm saying is Lamar could have threw the same amount. Did you see how many cross-body throws Lamar Jackson made today?
Ridiculous. I'm saying that so people don't try to say, well, we all understand what could have been.
No. We listen, I'm going to claim that. What are you talking about? I'm an unapologetic homer. What are you talking about? We was 1-6 in the Civil War, and you want us to talk about almost interceptions when we saw most of them? No, we're not going to do that.
I don't want people to say, well, you're making excuses now. Well, you acknowledge the fact that he could have thrown picks. Jameis also did about 7 things we haven't seen a quarterback do in the Browns uniform this season. We saw him, and regardless of who's calling plays, that was still the Kevin Stefanski playbook. They ran a ton of under center play action shots, just like we had talked about how Jameis ran at A&M back in New Orleans. They ran a ton of crossing routes, which if you went back and saw some of the Sean King breakdown against Cincinnati, he talked about how the crossing routes were wide open against Cincinnati, and Deshaun was just opting for the checkdowns as opposed to kind of hanging in the pocket, letting them develop. When the quarterback isn't escaping the pocket as quickly and the guys know where he's going to be, it's a little easier to block. G, you can touch on that. And that's kind of why I think the protection held up better. DeJuan Jones, kudos to you. As soon as they mentioned him on the broadcast, they got the immediate false start after. But for the most part, I thought DeJuan did a hell of a job in his first career start at left tackle. Jameis was delivering some bullets downfield. His average depth of target was nearly twice what we've become accustomed to as Browns fans this season. And the very next play after throwing what should have been a gift-wrapped interception to end the game, he throws a perfectly thrown 38-yard deep ball to Cedric Tillman to win the game against one of the defenses that some considered the best in football. This was exactly what you could have hoped for from Jameis Winston. It was more, and it delivered every aspect that Jameis brings. Fun, unpredictability, and a calming presence that you have a true professional under center. That's not a knock on anyone else. That's just purely Jameis Winston. And last thing, Earl, and G, I'm curious if you guys noticed this, and Earl, I want to start with you. It felt like he was making checks at the line of scrimmage in ways that I'm not quite sure they trusted previous guys to do. There was in the first half, it was the screen when they were in the red zone. He saw the zero blitz come and check to the screen. It ended up getting blown up. It didn't work, but he checked to the right play and then give Kyle Hamilton credit for making a great play. It seemed like he had command of the offense in ways that I'm not quite sure I'd seen over the first couple of games of the season.
I think if that's just him being a savvy veteran. I think to me, Mike, you spoke to it. Like it seemed like with Jameis, though, like a dark cloud is starting to pass from over the Cleveland Browns. And what do I mean by that? Like pregame stuff, right? Just the little things like social media, like the Browns being featured on SportsCenter social media, NFL.com social media, right? All the Jameis Winston pregame speeches, like just being put out there. All of a sudden, it's not a bad thing to, want to root for the Browns or joke around with a player with the Cleveland Browns on a national platform. All of a sudden, like, it just seems like there's an energy boost. Like, here it is, this man is out here praising God, and nobody is throwing shade at him for talking about religion before a game. It just seems like, man, whatever energy that he brings to the table is contagious, and people are buying it. Like, somebody texted me earlier today and said, man, I'm a Colts fan, and I think Jameis Winston is my favorite player. But like, we speak to energy being contagious all the time. And clearly he's a high energy dude, right? He leans on a higher power more than he does anything else. And just to see him galvanize the troops, one of the things that I really, really like that I'm not sure everybody else paid attention to during this game. Remember the catch that Njoku had on the sideline that was reversed and they called it an incomplete. And Njoku is signaling for Stefanski to throw the challenge flag. Winston is telling everybody to huddle up. Let's stay focused. Let's get back to the huddle. Let's get ready to run the next play. And that's the first time that we've seen that from a quarterback on the field this year. It's like, don't get caught up in the BS of the moment. Let's stay focused and let's keep handling our business. And so you see a guy that got not only commanded our offense, but he has commanded the football team.
Listen, I think one of the things that we take, and I said this before, like, some people say, hey, we're going to go with DTR. And I said, listen, no disrespect to DTR. Jameis Winston is a former first overall pick. Jameis Winston has done it at a high level, at every level. This man threw for 5,000 yards in a year. It's no question when you talk about, people thought maybe Flacco was better than him. No, he's not. Joe Flacco is not the same level talent as Jameis Winston. The problem with Jameis is sometimes you saw today, because he's aggressive and he needs to put the ball in certain places, he thinks he can do that. He's going to throw interceptions. But let me tell you this. Let me remind you of what we went through last week. We talked about the check down, captain check down. We talked about all the underneath routes. We talked about how the offense was stagnant. We talked about how nobody looked like they're open. The reality is, everybody and fans looking at home, you have to take those risks in order to open those things up. If he didn't almost throw those interceptions, he would have never threw the touchdown to Cedric Tillman. If he didn't almost do some of those things, the Baltimore Ravens would have been by the line of scrimmage, just waiting to feast on these short routes. So that's unintended consequences of being aggressive. That's what it is. But you see what happens when you do hit. I just want people to say this, man. We shouldn't get caught up in the rest of the season talking about if he's the long-term answer and if he's not the long-term answer, or what do you see? Like, at some point, we got to stop picking apart these games, live in the moment, and understand they just beat one of the best damn football teams in the league when their quarterback, when Lamar Jackson was playing like a Superman. Like, this dude, they beat one of the best teams in the world with all of this stuff going on. So, listen, let's lock in and start talking about what we see and stop talking about the future. Jameis Winston, I'm telling you, if he continues down this trajectory, everything after that will take care of itself. His contract, what they're going to do with him, but it's game after game after game. And the thing I love the most, McNuggets, and I'm going to toss it back to you, is I love to see him on the sidelines talking, communicating. This is what I'm seeing, encouraging, touching people, showing people, doing all that good stuff. Those are soft skills that a quarterback has to have. And the thing about Jameis Winston is he is gifted in that respect. He's special when he gets the guys to buy in and do what he needs to do. That was not Deshaun Watson's the biggest suit. That was not a strength of his. This is, you're seeing guys play hard, and that energy, that enthusiasm, that is infectious through the team. And I think that's one of the biggest traits that Jameis Winston has.
Two responses to your thing, G, then I want to get to something that we have to talk about next. Jameis, very good football player, even better teammate. If there was one thing Jameis is elite at, it's being a teammate. Ask anyone who's ever played with him. You could see it, as you alluded to. Also, in terms of the aggressiveness, throwing the ball downfield, it also opens up things in the run game. And I know the Browns didn't run the ball terrific today. They had their final numbers weren't great, 23 rushes for 80 yards. But it felt like when they needed to get some yards on the ground, they were able to open up some creases. And part of that is the cornerbacks aren't sitting 3 yards off the line of scrimmage knowing we don't have to backpedal because they're not going to throw the ball beyond that. But you want to talk about the here and the now, G. Let's give the defense some kudos because, yes, Jameis and the offense played well. But the defense held a Baltimore offense that had been nearly unstoppable for the last 4 weeks of the year to their worst offensive output since week 2. And this was an offense that came in averaging 250 yards in the air, 150 yards on the ground per game. Derrick Henry had been unstoppable. He had one run for 40 yards today. Outside of that one long run, he had 10 carries for 30 yards, averaged 3 yards per carry. Lamar had a couple scrambles. Overall, he was held in check. Lamar's final passing numbers a little inflated due to some late game, not garbage time numbers, but when they were playing conservative defense, allowing them to get on the field. They made stops when they had to. They got pressure. They had a couple sacks, a couple big tackles for losses. They should have had more turnovers. They didn't pick off Lamar Jackson, but the defense just felt like they had a different energy to them, G and Earl, and they were more invigorated from start to finish, knowing, hey, we're not going to be on the field 37 seconds after we come off the field. We may be able to give a little bit more effort or put a little more towards making a big third down stat because we trust the offense to give us a break and put some points on the board. I thought it was their best defensive effort of the season as well, even if the numbers don't back that up. Considering the opponent, the situation, the circumstances, I thought it was a hell of a defensive performance, and hopefully JOK and Denzel Ward aren't seriously injured. Two scary situations. Denzel being evaluated for his 6th concussion. JOK was carted off the field. He has had movement in his extremities, which is a good sign, but without those two late, the Browns still came up in the biggest moments.
Prayers up to Jock, prayers up to Denzel Ward. I think what you just said, Mike, though, I think that's a combination of two things, having faith in the offense and the quarterback, and then, just the play calling, right? When you look at Jameis Winston being in there, again, that's a infusion of energy. And then when you look at what Ken Dorsey did with the play calling, I thought he did a phenomenal job, right? Like, we kept talking about this whole spread and all. Like, Jameis was under center. Like it was play action, but when Kevin Stefanski actually stepping back and overseeing everything, to hear Kevin say, he finally had that light bulb go off to where, okay, I need to oversee my entire football team and then just trust the people that I put in place to do their job. But I thought Dorsey called a phenomenal game. I thought he played to what Jameis Winston does well. I get it. Jameis could have made some bonehead interceptions out there, but he was trying to make plays. And you can say that about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson threw 3 passes across his body that could have easily been picked off, but he was just out there trying to make plays. Football just seems fun again in Cleveland. And this is a confidence builder. This is a game that you absolutely needed to have. We're not even thinking playoffs, a long-term future. We just having fun, staying in the moment and taking it a week at a time. But this is the one day that we needed to unite us, right? Last Sunday, man, it just seemed like it was fans versus media. It was players versus fans. It seemed like people was just being mean, harsh, and cruel to each other. And you wake up today, and because of the unfortunate news that we got yesterday about Jim Donovan, you seen us as Browns fans come back together, unite, and really just be there for each other. You don't see the bickering going on today amongst fans, amongst each other. People just want to have fun, are thankful and happy that we got this win. If we want to get to critiquing the team, we'll get back to that next week. But this was fun. I thought DeJuan Jones was great in his first game at left tackle, as we mentioned earlier. He had that one penalty, but overall, I don't think the receivers dropped the ball at all today. I don't think I seen one drop out there today. So, Greg Newsome got the dance. Ain't nobody gonna talk about him dancing this week. He can go out there, get his boogie on.
He made a nice play at the end of that game.
Yeah.
Real nice breakup.
My boy MJ had a nice play. So hey,
it's a great win. It's a great. You're 11, whatever the final line was. You're essentially a double-digit home underdog, and you won. And before you go, G, just a update on Denzel Ward. According to Mary Kay, confirmed 6 concussions, second of the season for Denzel Ward, which is obviously not good news. We'll see how long it keeps him out, but a 6th concussion. He is entering that territory of, is the next one the last one? And that is just a scary thought for a guy who's an incredibly talented football player.
Listen, appreciate all the people that, I thought it was the JOK injury was very scary. So that, I was really praying for that and shout out to him that he's able to move all his extremities. So we was on Twitter talking about that. Denzel, hopefully, situation, he might need to think about wearing one of them halos, one of them things that JOK is wearing, because, it's a lot of concussions for him, and we don't want his career to end prematurely. But I want to go back to the Dorsey thing. And what I want people to do is I'm going to resist doing this, right? And I think this is a lot that has to do with where we're at kind of a little bit when we talk about the Browns. You got to give it's no knock against Kevin Stefanski. I'm not going to use that against him and say, well, look how great Dorsey did. Look how good he did. And we should have been doing that from the jump street. No, he made the decision. And at some point in time, why don't we have to start saying to ourselves, maybe Kevin Stefanski is making his own decisions. Maybe we have him all wrong. Maybe why can't nobody change his mind? People talk about, oh, well, he's been calling plays from the jump street. He didn't want to give up the play calling. But Kevin Stefanski on record, can you find one time that Kevin Stefanski did not say, I'm a collaborative guy and I will make the best decision that gives us the best chance to win, right? Didn't he say that?
That's what he always says.
He always says that. So now we want to crucify him because he didn't give up the play calling earlier. At least he made the decision. At least he went ahead and said, look, Dorsey, do your thing. I'm going to trust you to call your plays, and the confidence level that you put in other people. You saw the way Dorsey was calling that game. You saw the flow. You saw the energy. You saw the plan of attack. And he not only said that, he was like, listen, I do it a different way. I thought he was going to make him stay on the sidelines. Nope. He let him go right back to the booth, his comfort zone. And now is one person in the coach's ear. I also thought that I saw Kevin Stefanski doing some things on the sideline I haven't seen him do yet. Bubba Ventrone came up to him at the end of the game. Hey, whoa.
No.
Get
out of my face.
You noticed that?
Oh yeah.
I said, okay, Kev.
That's a great meme. That's going to be a Browns Twitter meme for the next 10 years.
I think he actually found it enjoyable in a different vantage point on the sidelines. I saw him with Jim Schwartz. We never saw that. We saw them coordinating and doing things like that. So for me, I'm going to give him credit because he could have rolled this sinking ship all the way down to by the Titanic, but he didn't.
Hold on, G. You got to give him credit for one more thing. We don't know this to be certain, but we know Kevin Stefanski as the play caller is very aggressive, right?
Right.
Now we've known before he got here, Ken Dorsey is not as aggressive as Kevin, right? That fourth down that we kicked the field goal and didn't go for it. Kudos to Kevin for letting Ken Dorsey do his job and not in that moment, like being the boss and be like, you know what, this situational, let me do this. You know what I mean? Because clearly, if that was Kevin making that decision, they was gonna go for it. So you could tell, even with those situational moments, who was making said plays.
If it's a decision like that, the head coach is usually still making the decision, not the play caller on that.
Yeah, but you know what, though? I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna ask somebody who's in there, in the press conference. But I'm gonna go ahead and say this was Ken, based on what we know. We know for a fact that Kevin Stefanski is aggressive in those moments, and we know for a fact that Ken Dorsey is never aggressive in those moments. You look at the yardage, you look at the distance. The data shows you that when Ken Dorsey was the play caller in Buffalo, they didn't go for it in those situations. Kevin Stefanski, he goes for it in those situations. So for me, I'm gonna give Kev some love and say he allowed Ken Dorsey to make that decision.
You know how we talked about, I think it was 2 weeks ago, switching quarterback or play caller because we wanted to figure out what the root of the issue was? I thought Dorsey did a really good job. I like the game plan. I like the flow. I like the way he sequenced plays together. I like the way he came back to certain things. I'm curious what Kevin Stefanski calling plays would look like with a quarterback that can do some of the things we saw Jameis do today. And would that have looked like Joe Flacco last year or not? We'll never find out, or at least we won't find out for the next couple of weeks because he has no intention of giving the play calling back to or taking it back from Ken Dorsey. But whatever worked today, don't change it because it was the best the offense has looked since week 17 last year against the New York Jets. And think about how long ago that game was. That was December of 2023, Earl. That's almost 10 months since we've seen a competent offense from this Cleveland Browns organization. And they changed both at the same time, and it ended up working out. And if anyone tries to finagle with it now, back the you-know-what up. Like, stay away. It's 1 week. It doesn't mean it's fixed forever. But right now, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I love the way, whether it was Jameis communicating directly with Dorsey, if Stefanski was the middleman, however they ended up setting up the communication, the play calling, the overall connection of plays together. Don't touch it because is it New Orleans next week or is it the Chargers next week?
It's the Chargers next week.
Chargers next week?
That's
a physical defense. It'll give you a similar test that what you saw from Baltimore today, and I love the way the Browns attacked it. So I'm not touching and tinkering with anything because what we saw this week worked pretty damn well.
No, and here's, and I know this is going to be, and here's the urge. We're going to, and I'm going to just raise my hand. I'm going to just like opt out of it. Moving forward, I'm not getting drugged back into no. It was the Watson thing. Look at the night and day. Listen, bro, we moving forward. Jameis Winston is playing good football. We saw something. We want to continue that momentum this week. But listen, some of the segment of our population, once again, we're not going to let you drag us back down into this is what we thought was going to happen, and I knew this was going, and did you see the difference? I don't know what's going on. He should never, bro, we're not on that no more. You're going to have to go to your chat rooms and your chat boards for that. I'm not giving you no more topics on it. I'm not entertaining it. I'm not tweeting you back. Listen, y'all can go in your corner and dig a hole and talk amongst the 5 or 6 people, but the Cleveland Browns won a great football game today. Nick Chubb is back. Cedric Tillman looks like he's a guy. Offensive line looks like they can play a little bit. Kevin Stefanski trying to show some growth, and you still talking about a guy that's on your team that is injured for the rest of the year. Stop the games, fellas. Enjoy the football. I will. I'm drinking all of the Kool-Aid tonight, and no one can drag me back down.
Hey,
give us your thoughts, and we'll do super chats to wrap it up.
Wait, hold on, G. Here's something that's fact. Mikey gonna like this too. 2 of the most underrated players in Cleveland right now, Cedric Tillman and Ty Jerome, man. I'm telling you, I need a Cedric Tillman jersey and I need a Ty Jerome jersey.
Girl, you gonna jump back on the Ty Jerome? You ain't nothing. I ain't been there a whole week. You jump back on Ty. I see his balling.
He's balling since last year.
Ty Jerome gonna win 6 man of the year. Watch.
We haven't seen him all season, and Earl's like, nah, that Jerome dude, he's gonna be a player sometime. So,
but McNuggets, I think you do. Listen, McNuggets, you're right. I'm gonna give you the floor. I'm gonna give you your time. You're the only person that came to Cedric Tillman's going away party. He was already out here.
He did.
You're the only person that came to the going away party. You bought dip and you bought hors d'oeuvres and a fruit tray. Listen, talk about your boy Cedric Tillman. Get your victory lap on because he was balling.
Yeah, go ahead.
2 weeks in a row. Get your victory lap.
2 weeks is not a full victory lap, but at least the preparations for the victory parade are underway, G. Like, I've made a phone call to pick out the route for the victory parade on the Cedric Tillman resurgence. Here's what I saw from Cedric Tillman, then we'll read some super chats. Last year was mental. He had the physical tools. Like, he's 6'3", he's a big body, he's athletic, he's fast enough, has pretty good hands, but he just couldn't get on the same page as the quarterbacks last year. And I go back to the Chicago game specifically, where Joe Flacco chewed him out on the sideline for running the wrong route. Whether it was the playbook, whether it was the memory, whether it was choice routes and hot routes that he wasn't seeing, it wasn't physical. It was just mental. And I thought with a second year in an offense with the same coaching staff or the head coach, similar systems, but new terminology, whatever that may be, he had the tools to be successful. He just needed the opportunity and a better understanding of what the Browns were trying to accomplish. And you've seen the last 2 weeks. When his number's been called in a system he understands better, he has come through in ways that the Browns have been begging a receiver that they drafted in the later round to come through. I don't know, and we could do this tomorrow. If you take his stats from the last 2 weeks, G, I think he has like 16 catches for over 200 yards or just under 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. We could add all the Browns receivers of their 3rd and 4th round picks in the last 3 years outside of Tillman and them together. I'm not sure you're getting that much production from all of them combined. So yes, the victory parade on Cedric Tillman is being planned, but we are not there yet. Earl, last thoughts, and then we'll wrap up and do super chats.
Rest in power to Jim Donovan, man, a great man. I think I speak for all 3 of us who cover sports in the WKYC building to know that it's an honor and a privilege to cover sports in the same building as he did. And so we understand that there's a standard here, and we walk in here and we try to put our best foot forward every day. Thoughts and prayers to Cheryl, his wife, his daughter, Megan. And shout out to the Browns fans, because I know a lot of you all felt under attack by the media. You felt under attack by some of the players, and you hung in there. You showed up on this Sunday to cheer for your team, to support your team. And despite all the noise, like, you was loud and proud. You wore your colors loud and proud, and you got a victory today. So victory Monday for everybody. If your boss say something crazy and out the way, look at him sideways, man, and let him know you got that dog in you.
G, final thoughts, and then we'll do some super chats.
Hey, man, shout out to Jim Donovan. He was looking down on us. The Browns got this win today. You know what I'm saying? Right now, we 2-6 right now. But look, man, we looking forward to more entertaining football throughout the rest of the season. And you know how we give it up, man, on UCSS, man. They be calling us clowns all the time, but put some respect on it. Hey, man, it's big circus to you. Let's get it going, Big Nuggets.
My last thought is I wonder if Tampa Bay, who now has a turnover-prone quarterback, regrets giving up on Jameis Winston. That's all I can think about right now. Like, I just wonder, are they like, damn, man, what if we still had Jameis? So that's gonna do it for our Bleacher Report session of the show. We're gonna get some super chats in on the YouTube segment of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, 2-minute warning show. If you want to hear the super chats, find us on YouTube. Just search us on YouTube. Shout out to Bleacher Report for hosting the post-game show. And we'll see you guys tomorrow on Bleacher Report.
Peace.
Now
Peace.
for the Super Chats. It's funny. We have like 60 when they lose. When they win, we got 15, which goes to show you that drama sells in that regard. But we are going to celebrate a dub in the only way we know how. And that's a big victory Monday. Mr. I Crap and Shit says, did we just see DeJuan Jones play a better left tackle than Jed Wills?
Yeah, we got him up out of here.
Yep.
That little meme,
in his first game.
that little meme that was going around where he was like,
Yeah.
That set him all the way down.
Yeah, bro was inactive today. He gonna be inactive for the rest of the season too.
Left tackle is DeJuan Jones now until it's not.
It's a further notice. Yeah.
Hey, McNuggets, it was funny. It'd be like you have a parent that work a lot, and so basically you just dealing with one parent, and then that one parent be home for a couple of days and be like, when the hell did he get this bad? Don't you be like, dang, bro, my kid is that bad? Yeah, your kid be doing this every day, all day. And Kevin Stefanski watched that film and was like, what the hell is this? Yeah. He kind of sit down.
Hey, shout out to DeJuan. Had a hell of a game in his first career start at left tackle. SG said 4 was the problem the whole time. A completely different team. So this guy says, how about Cedric Tillman? This was for Jimmy Screw Art Modell. Dallas Mail says, about damn time. Set apart Laz for saying, I apologize for talking up Watson like that. Brody's bottom line said, I like this show, but this is not the same game plan Deshaun had. G, what do you think about that? Was it a similar game plan to how they tried, and the key word is try, to utilize Deshaun through the first 7 weeks? Or was this a completely deviated game plan from what we had saw earlier in the season?
Look, man, this game plan, first and foremost, it was much more complimentary. We've been talking about the situation with Bernie all the time. We talked about more running under center. I think Nick Chubb helps that a lot. I thought Nick Chubb got a lot better this game too, legs up underneath him. I think Jameis Winston just gets rid of the ball quicker. He's more decisive. He knows where he wants to go with it pre-snap. I thought he did a lot of stuff at the line of scrimmage, getting the team into better, just better positions in general. And I think the offensive line showed that they're more suited towards some of the stuff that they were running. I think the thing with Deshaun Watson was, and once again, we go back and when it's gonna beat a dead horse. But look, we talked about it. I told you personally, skin a dead horse, the cat, whatever the case may be. The ball wasn't coming out. I was like, yo, you got to sit him down. This is like 4 weeks ago. I think Jameis just did a better job of anticipating where the throws are. And we look at it every week with Sean King. He took his layups. He made his layups, right?
I would say this is the same game plan they tried to run. It just looks a lot different when it's executed how it's supposed to be executed. I didn't think there was anything crazy that we saw today that they didn't attempt to run at some point during the first 7 weeks. But you laughing at what I said, Earl?
Yeah.
Or my text?
I'm laughing at the group chat.
Okay. Yeah. But no, I think it was a similar game plan. It was a little more complex, but Kevin Stefanski wants to run under center play action. They ran a lot more of that today with the quarterback who's more comfortable doing that. So that's my 2 cents on that.
So we talked about the football guys blessing us, right? And Jameis tell you, man, like the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. All I'm saying when it comes to these football guys, right? Every time we see a quarterback step in here that's not for, right, his offense, the offense look good. Now, all I'm saying, like, anybody ever tried to date the same girl, like, over and over and over, and then, like, y'all keep getting back together, and y'all have a little bit of success, but, like, somehow, some way, like, something bad always happens, and you just keep trying it over and over, like, man, Browns better try that new thing, man. You better let Jameis love you. I don't know what y'all been listening. You better let Jameis love you. Jameis is 30 years old, okay? Jameis is 1 year older than Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
Look, seriously, Geno Smith had a resurgent story. Sam Darnold had a resurgent story.
Baker.
We seen Alex Smith have one. We didn't see Baker Mayfield have one. We didn't see Joe Flacco do it in 2 half of a seasons, 1 half here when he got his opportunities in Indy. Like, the quarterback position is hard. And a lot of these dudes that play that position, they enter the NFL 20, 21 years old. And there's a learning curve. You still got to mature as a person, not just as a football player. And, you know, experience, pain, and L's are typically your best, like, teachers in life. that help grow you in certain areas. And maybe Sean King is not far off at all. Just maybe the Cleveland Browns got them something here with Jameis Winston. He's like a 10-year younger version of Joe Flacco, and everybody loved Joe Flacco. I can only imagine that you're going to love Jameis Winston. Don't be too quick to kick this dude out the door because of what looked good from afar, a top 5 pick and a chance to get one of these rookie quarterbacks. Like, you better really pay attention to what you got and not make the same mistakes twice.
Next one comes from James R. Baker, who says, the only thing I worry about is some of the throws that should have been interceptions. I don't think he should be the long-term plan. One game's not going to determine that. We'll find out how he plays the rest of the season. Set Apart Laz says Deshaun's cases were too heavy for the team to overcome. Adam Majette says, gee, what you said to start about Jim Donovan was beautiful, but forget you for making me choke up. GG's fam. Halim says, give Moore some love. Finally, hey, he had his best game as a Brown, probably his second best game as a pro. G, you alluded to some of the route running. There was a big third down conversion. He had a nice little outbreaking route to the right sideline. Jameis put it in a bucket over his shoulder. That's the Elijah Moore Andrew Berry thought he was trading for.
I thought Elijah Moore couldn't play football no more. I really thought Elijah forgot how to play football. Like, maybe
this was big. Because if you go back and you guys can watch it, you go watch the film breakdown with Sean King. There was a play where he pointed out that Elijah Moore was supposed to clear out the backside and make that picture a little cleaner for an underneath route that Deshaun Watson wanted to throw.
I'll drop the play. I'll drop the play in the link in case anyone
drop that play. And he points out the fact that he's not running hard and he's not clearing that out. I thought Elijah Moore played one of his best games as a Cleveland Brown. When you watch the way he's running and he's getting in and out of his breaks, catching the football, getting down, I thought he ran with more conviction. And that's because when you know there's a chance, it's like a point guard in basketball when you're a big man. If you know you run the floor, McNuggets, and the big guy, and I'm going to get the ball, I'm going to have that energy. I'm going to run the floor. I'm going to hit the boards. I'm going to set good screens. So Elijah Moore ran and Jerry Jeudy ran and Cedric Tillman ran with a lot of conviction that they weren't running the last couple of weeks because they just didn't have faith that they were going to get the ball when they were open. I thought he had one of his best games as a Cleveland Brown.
Earl, what did you see from Elijah Moore today?
I mean, a lot of good. I mean, like I said while y'all was talking, he had 12 targets, right? And to me, that says a lot about the trust that Jameis Winston had in him, despite what we may think we know in the media or from a fan perspective about what's going on internally with Elijah Moore. This is a dude that the quarterback trusted. And like I said, it's been so long since I seen him make plays. I forgot that the dude knew how to play football. And the last time he played like this was in that week 17 game that you alluded to earlier, G, against the Jets last year when Flacco was the quarterback. Amari missed that game and Elijah Moore scored in that game. And so, again, when he is, I don't know what it was, why it was the way it was, but it just seemed like it was a struggle to get things done with Deshaun Watson. Like, at this point, it don't even matter no more. He's not playing for the rest of the season. So, like, now we just get a chance to sit back and enjoy the ride. And finally, I'm going into next week's game really believing that the Cleveland Browns about to whoop the Chargers' ass. I mean, foot all on their neck, just
stomp it out.
Stomp the yard. Yeah, I like the basketball equation. I don't want to put everything on Deshaun because it wasn't just him. Like, there were other issues clearly. But I can only relate to basketball because that's what I played. When you're on a team and there's not like a real point guard and you're just running up and down the court and you're playing like with a guy like Russell Westbrook, you get disengaged at times because you know you're not going to get the ball when you're supposed to. When you get it, it's going to be at the wrong time and you're going to make bad plays with it because it's just not delivered at the right spot, the right time, in rhythm when you want it. And then you switch over and you start playing with a guy like Chris Paul, and every time you're open, it's just there.
Right.
It's in the pocket. And it's human nature. You just play better in those kind of situations. And I think a lot of what we saw today was just the natural effect of a lot better quarterback play than we'd seen. And it's not just Deshaun. I want to make clear it's not all Deshaun and now Jameis is saving everything but I think a lot of the human nature is these guys thought they had a better chance to succeed with Jameis, and we saw the end product of that.
Well, listen.
Oh
the
yeah,
ball,
G.
the
Go
ball,
ahead.
the ball has energy, right? When the ball's hopping around and you getting the ball, you feel more intact. You feel more a part of the game. So the little mundane things that you normally don't do, that you know, are like blocking and doing things like that. You're like, man, you go through the motions a little bit
And running clear out routes, like the
running clear out
you talked about earlier. Yeah.
So but here's the thing. You know, you can say, hey, if that's what makes everybody feel great, say, listen, it was all Deshaun Watson. Enjoy the damn game. Enjoy the win. You got the win. Listen, I ain't got to. Sometimes, like you mentioned, Earl, talk about going on dates. Sometimes it's just nice to go on a date. Are you going to marry that person? No, but you had a nice dinner in the movie, man. It was great, good conversation, and you feel good about yourself coming home. Like, hey, man, that might be something. Right now, we need to stop jumping from relationship to relationship and just have a nice couple of dates the rest of the year.
We just kicking it with Jameis right now.
We gonna kick it with Jameis a little bit. We ain't doing.
What's our relationship with 5?
Yeah, we just chilling. We cool
it right now. You know, throwing touchdowns. That's all.
Couple more super chats and we'll wrap it up. Chubba Wubba Hub says this team looked completely different than what we've seen this year. I think Jimmy was looking down on us. Thank you for the touching remarks about Donovan to everyone. Make sure you give a thumbs up. Appreciate that. Next up, Andy Stewart said, one game at a time. I do believe we need to give Winston the starting job until he gives us a legit reason not to be. Winston could be the answer. I think that's a very fair way to look at the situation. Be Unlimited University says, this was the first time this season I expected us to score on the final drive. That's going to be one of our talking points tomorrow on UCSS. Paul A says, okay, new play caller, new quarterback, great defense, but they just win that game for Jimmy Donovan. We love you, Jimmy. Tech T to go says, thank you, Ken Dorsey. Our offense played at a different level. Chris Townsend said, Jones, new left tackle. Creative Juice, after today, Kevin can't replace Jameis with DTR without possibly losing the locker room. This is now Winston's team moving forward. Mr. Crap and Shit says, is Winston getting free crab legs this week?
Oh, here you go. Here you go. You leave the man alone. We're not doing it no more. Don't you find something?
I think he is. I think the owner of PRW told him, come on, man. Just come get whatever you want. James can get free whatever this week, bro.
Yeah. And last but not least,
300 yards, James, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Man, you can get whatever the hell you want in the city.
I actually agree. I will give him free access to the UCSS Papa Shot if he's going to throw 3 touchdowns and 300 yards every week. That's our best offer. And James May says, do not break this team up. The Browns will be fine. The Browns are 2-6, which sounds a whole hell of a lot better than 1-7, boys. And the best part, tomorrow is now Victory Monday.
And I get to choose my Kool-Aid flavor.
Got to look at it different. The Browns are 1-0 with Jameis Winston as the starter. I'm not claiming 2-6. Browns are 1-0.
Hey, that's branding right there, Earl. 1-0. Listen, remember listen. I'm not gonna start the 9-0 Kool-Aid.
Hey, did you hear the Wiz? Did y'all hear the Wiz on Rich Eisen show?
What'd you say?
And did y'all see the Miz? My bad. Did y'all see?
Yeah, I did see him.
Yeah. Miz made a case that we was going 9-0.
Not 9-0 Kool-Aid. Listen, what we doing? Get my Kool-Aid flavors ready.
We'll have them in the morning. We'll see you tomorrow on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. For G, McNuggets, and we got Earl of Pearl. I messed that one up. But it's okay. I'm on 2 hours of sleep. I made it back from the wedding in one piece to see the Browns kick the Ravens' ass.
Go Browns. Long live Jimmy Donovan. Peace.
Long live the king.